Are you willing to commit to that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Where do we start?
I'm saying it's okay and I can do it. I'm pretty pumped. Yeah.
If you're losing sales right now, it's not because you're bad at sales. It's definitely not because you have the wrong sales process. And it's most certainly not because you are inexperienced. It's because you're missing a few crucial things, and I'm going to help you fix it today. So my name is Adnan, and over the past 6 years, I've built and scaled multiple sales teams and have been a part of tens of millions of dollars worth of high ticket sales, and personally been a part of over $27 million in sales over the past couple of years. I've broken down and watched hundreds, no, actually, if not thousands of sales calls, and I've been able to synthesize a few key things that have been able to help separate the good from the great. And these are all real hours of sales calls. These aren't just sitting there watching a mock role play and hoping to get something out of it. These are tangible sales calls with real closers just like you who are closing high ticket deals all the way to low ticket deals. And I've been able to synthesize them all into a clean, structured system. After watching thousands of hours of sales calls, what I discovered absolutely flips everything that you've been taught on its head. Today, I'm going to give you the exact framework that the top 1% of closers use to close more deals, that creates a hidden shift that unlocks your prospect on a call and helps them make decisions for themselves. And so you don't have to be sitting there forcing them at the end of the call. This is the part that unlocks your prospect's brain, that just takes the call from being pretty good to exceptional. And you can use it today to help you close more deals tomorrow. And this is what's going to separate someone who is good at sales to someone who's exceptional, unstoppable, and a force to be reckoned with. So now the thing is though, when we look at it, right, we want to understand, is the person first moving away from the pain or moving towards gain? This is where we need to understand how they actually make decisions. Because if you understand how someone makes decisions, you understand what's going to be the best for them. So first things first is when you're looking at someone to make a decision, if you don't know which combo they're going to be, then you're in a really, really tricky place, because there's 4 quadrants to this. And I want you to follow me onto my iPad quickly, because this is going to explain exactly how it works. So first things first, is that person towards or away? Then from there, the next thing is, are they emotion or logic? Okay, so this is how it looks, right? So there's only these things. Each of these link up to each of these. So you have like a full linkage. So this is where we want to figure this out. What the first thing we want to figure out is if they are towards or away. But this is where now we get into things get a little bit more tricky, because now we're looking at it from logic or emotion. Cool. So now this is where it gets a bit fun, right? So when we look at it, someone who is logical, but they're going towards something, right? What do they need? ROI. They need to understand systems. They need mechanics. Ignore that, you know what I said. Okay, so, but then someone who's moving towards, but they're running from a place of emotion, now we need to give them hope, motivation. Now, these are some of the other things, right? Okay, so then they're still making things with emotion. So what we need to do is give them clarity, right? So this is where we need to give them versions of themselves where they have clarity, they have hope, they have motivation. Right now, someone who is emotion, but the thing is though, now someone is moving away, but they're using logic to move away from things. What they need is they need to have trust. They need to have a sense of relief. They need to have you as the trusted advisor. Right? If you don't have these things, then they're not going to feel in line with you. But then the same thing is from an emotional perspective. An emotional buyer who's moving towards, emotional buyer who's moving away from something, They need to have a clear vision. They need to know the consequence. They need to have an understanding of where they are going to land. I'm going to redo this consequence because that's making me feel weird that it's not done properly. They need to have an understanding of what's actually going on. This will help you be able to have a proper process. So now that you understand how this works from a high level, this is where now we're going to be able to give you a proper direction. If you don't know what combo to hit them with when it comes to what's on the iPad, what happens is you end up having this weird up and down call where you don't know if they're in, you don't know if they're out, you don't know what's going on, and then it just ends up being this huge clusterfuck. Okay, so overall, we just want to understand, are they moving away from pain or are they moving towards desire? Are they a logic buyer or are they an emotional buyer? Because logic buyers, they need safety, they need proof, they need clarity. They need ROI, they need systems, they need certainty. Emotional buyers, they need trust, relief, and hope, and they need vision and inspiration. So you follow these principles, you're gonna have the right process, you're gonna understand how to understand your prospect better, and you're gonna feel a whole heap more certain to it, and you're not gonna come off as this sleazy sales guy. You're actually gonna feel comfortable during the whole process. So now we're gonna understand something really key around this. If someone is emotional and moving away from pain, they just want to know it's finally going to get better, and there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel for them. And if they're logical and moving towards the future, they want to see an ROI, they want to see the numbers, they want to see the systems, they just want to know it works. They just want to feel excited about who they're actually going to become. But this is the thing here now. This is when things get a little more fun. You still need to have this one deep-seated subconscious governor that's going to undo everything if you do not run this system properly. And this is what I call introducing the internal governor. So the internal governor is a built-in safety system that every single prospect has and every single human has, that's built for ultimate safety. The job of the internal governor is to protect them from failure, protect them from any harm, embarrassment, anything of that kind. That internal governor is there to do it. It is there to take care of that prospect. It's basically there to make them feel like they're not an idiot. And so when a buyer says, look, I need to think about it, or look, it sounds good, but not right now, they're not rejecting you. Their governor just slammed the brakes on the deal. So here's how you're gonna beat it. You don't push harder, you guide them through it. And here's the flow. First things first, want to lower pressure. So I want to calm the room. Hey, Mr. Prospect, completely understand where you're at. Look, just want to make sure you feel safe during the process and understand that we're not here to make the deal happen. We're here to make sure you're in the right position for success. Then from there, find the fear. If you could understand, just so I can see where we can best help you, is there something specific you want to think about, or is there something you're trying to work out in your head? Then from there, normalize it. If they say they're fearful, look, I completely understand that you might be feeling a little bit nervous around it, and it's completely normal. In fact, some of our most successful business owners have felt exactly the same way when they got to the stage. And so the fact that you're feeling it is actually a great sign, because XYZ name felt exactly the same way when they got started and they've achieved X, Y, and Z results. So now we want to empower them. So this is where we want to give back control. At the end of the day, Mr. Prospect, if you feel like this is going to get you to where you want to go, then really the only two decisions you need to make: whether you're willing to show up for yourself and you're willing to actually see the outcomes that will happen if you actually show up for yourself. Then the thing is though, there's no pressure from our end. It's only the factor of how much longer do you want to keep seeing X, Y, and Z problem go on for. Then from there, anchor the vision of their future selves to pull them forward. If you were your own best friend, or if you were to give yourself one piece of advice, what's one piece of advice you give yourself? Or if your best friend was in this situation, what's one piece of advice you would give? Then invite the close. So this is where, look, I'm being led by you. What do you feel like is the next appropriate move from here? How do you feel like we should proceed from here? What's causing you to want to feel comfortable, and how can you start to take action despite feeling uncomfortable? This is where we start to move them. And this is the thing, right? Once you know how to read someone, and you understand where they're at and understand where that quadrant and where they lie, if they're logical versus emotional, their weight versus towards, and you know how to guide their nervous system and their subconscious to feel safe, actually help them see past their fear and feel normal around it. You stop feeling like a salesperson and you actually become the guy that is a trusted advisor in the call. And this is the thing, people need leaders. I watched hundreds of sales calls, so you don't have to, and I'm gonna break down the 5 deadly sins that I observed from the top closers and the bottom closers, and I'm going to show you exactly what has caused them to close more deals and not close deals. So first things first, they were interrogating rather than connecting. When you are interrogating your prospect, they are feeling like they're getting an AK-47 worth of questions. So this is where you trigger the defense mechanisms in the buyer. They are feeling like you are actually not sitting on the same side of the table as them. You're sitting on the other side of the table and you're just there to get a commission check, and they can feel that. So this is the thing, you need to connect with them first and then collect in the second. What I mean by collect is being able to collect the information rather than the card details, because that's the most important thing. You want the information to make sure that the person feels comfortable. Second thing is monologuing instead of explaining. So what I mean by this is you are doing more talking to the prospect than they are explaining to you what's actually happening, and you getting actual intelligent information so then you can actually move the sale forward. And this is where you lower your status. And the thing is though, the best closers I watch, they ask deeper questions, they ask better questions, they are listening more than they're talking. God gave you one mouth and two ears, so you better use it that way. Listen more than you talk. And the thing is though, when you actually pull the dreams of your prospect out, you actually understand the deepest desires, you release the governor. That governor is what's going to allow you to be able to help them get into their future identity, and that's where you can actually genuinely move the sale forward. Now, number 3, mishandling objections. Objections aren't attacks. They're not attacks on you, they're not attacks on your ego, they're not attacks on anything but the factor that the prospect is feeling a little bit concerned and they need your certainty. So this is where they are emotional signals for distress. We want to validate first and redirect second. Don't attack the prospect, because after watching multiple sales calls, as soon as the prospect gave a think about it, that closer was on guard immediately. Oh yeah, what do you need to think about? Straight into it. Can't do that, because what happens is the guard is already up. They're feeling tension because they're giving you objection. They know they're giving you an objection, and what it is subconsciously they're feeling resistance, and you need to help them overcome it before you start getting aggressive. Now, if they continue doing it, that's when you get a little bit aggressive, and you got to help them realize that what they're doing is not serving themselves. Completely normal, but you don't want it to cost you deals. Now, number 4, energy mismatch. So this is where you can't pull someone up until you first match where they are emotionally, or you need to create an emotionally safe place for them and then pull them up. So meet them first and then elevate slowly. This is called pace, lead. It's a tonality process, but it can also be used when you're talking to people. You can actually help them pace the energy and increase the energy as you go, because of the factor that you can control the prospect's feeling, because people move with positive energy. And number 5, this is the one that kills everybody, is losing frame control. You are asking questions, the prospect is answering questions. That is the goal, because that gives you the nice flow during the process at the end to get the outcome. But the thing is though, you didn't set the frame early. I watched it many times. The prospect take the frame too early. They start asking too many questions to the closer, and next thing you know, they're in this logistical cell where they've got no intel. They have no idea why the prospect wants it. They're just talking about facts and numbers and all this type of things, and then it goes completely out the window. This is where you want to use a frame at the beginning. So let's explore where you're at first, only to move forward and see if this is a fit. Or let's understand where you're at now and what you're looking for, and then what I can do is put together a proper strategy and plan, so at the end of the call you know whether this is going to be something for you or not. All right, now you can keep doing what average closers are doing. You can guess, you can hope, you can do all that, lose deals when you should be winning, or you can make a decision. Make a decision to be a top closer right now. Even if you haven't gone to closing, you still want to become the best of the best in the game, and this is where the internal governor process is going to be the best thing for you. And it's a blueprint I've used to move many conversations to be able to have the prospect uncover the real truth. They tell you what's actually going on, and the thing is that they actually feel comfortable telling you. And this is where you can close $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 deals with calm certainty. The prospect feeling that you are the trusted advisor and you're the person they can lean on to tell the absolute truth to. So at the end of the call, you get your credit card details that you want. You would help a person and they actually got what they needed. And with this blueprint and the internal governor process, what it's going to allow you to do is you're going to have a process that you can follow predictably, and you know that you can see around corners. You can start to predict sales rather than hope for them at the end. You're going to be able to see a think about objection happening. You can be able to see more happening towards the end of the call, or you can pre-handle it. Plus, you're not that slap the bonnet car salesman that you see everywhere. and you're just hoping and praying that the prospect's going to happen, and then you start pressuring at the end of the call. And if you're ready to become the closer, the one who gets paid the most, the one who's topping the leaderboard, the one who's able to do things on his own terms or her own terms, and you are stuck with the factor that practice is going to get you where you need to go, or just one more lead, or just one more week, or just watching another YouTube video is going to get you to where you want to go. If you're serious about mastering the game, DM me on Instagram, impact, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you over the internal governor guide, a breakdown exactly how I follow it to be able to close more deals predictably, and how I was able to do over $270,000 this month. And I'll show you the private behind the scenes, private access processes that I use to actually get that. This is all without changing your sales process. This is all without changing your script. This is just you implementing mental models that are going to allow you to close deals better. Don't skip this. This will help you with your next prospect. I guarantee it. Follow it properly, and you're going to get the best outcome possible. Now, if this has opened up your eyes, you feel like you've actually gained some value, you feel like this has actually helped you get further to where you want to go, like, subscribe. The next video over here is going to be a bit more about how you can actually get into sales, how to run a team better, and how to do things at a high level. And if you know that you are capable for more, join the community, get around like-minded people, and I'll see you inside.